Coming up, Casey Anthony's back in an all-new interview. A 4-year-old Pennsylvania girl was shot and killed while shopping with her mom. An Ohio mom and daughter was killed by a man who then turns the gun on himself. A British nurse is on trial accused of killing 7 neonatal babies and attempting to kill 10 more. An 11-year-old San Diego girl who was tortured and murdered weighed only 48 pounds. And a man and mom of 4 were killed in a parking lot, leaving 2 unharmed toddlers in the back seat. I said this was a loaded lineup. It's Bethea's Byte. It's reloaded. And it starts right now. It's another cloudy Sunday afternoon here in Salem, Oregon. I hope things are a lot brighter where you are. Welcome once again to Bethea's Byte, your home for news, opinions, debates, your voice, and justice served. I am Ernest Bethea, the last outlaw. Thank you so much for joining me. And I hope to have a lot of people in the chat this week. I got somebody right now already in. Who we got? Where the wind blows. How you doing? Welcome to the chat. Stick around. Like I said at the opening, I've got a loaded lineup. And the sound you hear in the background, that's my wife going on her live promoting her products for her business. Shout out to my wife, Crystal Bethea, Lady Outlaw. Love you, dear. All right. But first off, let me do a little house cleaning real quick. If this is your first time, welcome. I will say that you'll hear me say this again, but I don't need to say, let my screen do the talking for you. But you can, yeah, that's right. You can follow me all over social media. I'm all over the place. Catch me on Facebook. Get me here on the Bird app. Here on YouTube. Yeah, that's Bethea's Byte Reloaded with and without the punctuation. I'm on the gram. You can email me. Hit me up on my message board. And catch teasers here on TikTok. All right. Back to the chat real quick. What I got? Looking forward to it. Hang on where the wind blows. Hang on, because you're about to be in for a bumpy ride with me. Let's go ahead and kick this thing off with the biggest story I've got for this week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, like I said at the start, Casey Anthony is back, and she's back in a brand new It's okay. It's okay. You got me six other different ways to follow me. All right, Casey Anthony's back, and she's back in a brand new docu-series on Peacock entitled Casey Anthony, What Where the Truth Lies. So before I even begin the article, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna stop this share here, and I'm going to open up my links real quick, and I'm gonna just hit you up with the trailer for Where the Truth Lies. And then I'm gonna hit you with a few articles and let you be the judge if Casey has anything to add. Is she continuing to lie or what? No, that's the wrong one. All right, here we go. All right, hang on a second. Ladies and gentlemen, you're seeing this here first. This is the trailer for Casey Anthony, Where the Truth Lies. This is the official trailer from Peacock.
What's your emergency? My daughter's been missing for the last 31 days.
It's happening. The most closely watched case certainly since O.J. Simpson.
What's your emergency? My daughter's been missing for the last 31 days.
It's happening. The most closely watched case certainly since O.J. Simpson.
To the charge of first-degree murder, not guilty. Casey's
never told her story. Did she murder her daughter? Casey interview? Marker?
What do you think my question is?
Why did I wait 31 days to call 911?
Casey do everything in her power to protect your daughter.
The public thought that Casey didn't want to be a mother. Why make you think she did murder her child? It's not Casey that I knew. She loved that child. And why? But no one asked why.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's, like I said, that's just the trailer for Where the Truth Lies. And I don't know why she would stop now. Now, agreed. I mean, that's what she's done. She's done nothing but lie. But continuing onward, this is I've compiled a bunch of articles together, and let's just say that everything we figured she would lie about, she continues to lie about. Here's the breakdown. The first one she says what she believes, how she believes, or what she believes actually happened to Kaylee. How Kaylee Anthony died has always been a mystery. In the summer of 2008, the 2-year-old girl vanished and wasn't reported missing for more than a month. When her grandmother contacted police and said that the toddler was last seen with her mother, Casey Anthony. For more than 6 months, Casey and her parents insisted the little girl was alive, even though Casey's car smelled like human decomposition, and there was forensic evidence that seemed to indicate that the little girl's body had been placed inside the trunk. After she was charged in connection with Kaylee's death, Casey faced a high-profile 2011 trial and was found not guilty of homicide charges. Oh, and let me go ahead and make this abundantly clear to the possible incoming Casey Anthony trolls. Just because she was found not guilty doesn't mean she's innocent. I'll say that again nice and slow, just so y'all can get it in your heads. Just because she was found not guilty by 12 members of a jury doesn't mean that Casey Marie Anthony is an innocent woman. Now that we got that clear, I'll continue. Kaylee's fate still remains a mystery, but Casey Anthony, now 36, told her version of events on the new docu-series Casey Anthony, Where the Truth Lies, a 3-part limited series now streaming on Peacock. In the documentary, she sits down for her first on-camera interview ever. And as you can see by the picture here, the only thing that's changed about her, other than what, 10, 11 years, is her hair. She's gotten old. She's gotten a bit older. And that's about it. In the interview, Anthony insists that she's innocent of Kaylee's killing and that she loved her daughter fiercely. Watch this. Honey? Oh, never mind. I was gonna ask my wife for 50 cents so I can go to Starbucks for coffee. She's already doing that. She just saved me 50 cents. She says she would never have hurt Kaylee, and that she regrets that she could not protect her. Well, regrets do we have, huh? Instead, she placed the blame for her daughter's death squarely on her father, George Anthony. I wasn't feeling that great, and I wanted to lay down, she said during the docu-series. I had Kaylee lay in bed with me. I was awoken by my father shaking me and asking me where Kaylee was, she continues. That didn't make sense. She would never even leave my room without telling me. I immediately started looking around the house. I go outside and I'm looking to see where she could be. Makes you sick? Makes me sick. What's making you sick? Makes me sick. Trust me.
Oh my God, that's so good. Hello. Yeah, guys. Love you all. Bye.
I immediately started looking around the house, she continues. I go outside and I'm looking to see where she could be. Casey says she then saw George Anthony holding her daughter. He was standing with her. She says she was soaking wet. He handed her to me, said it was my fault. Thank you, dear. Oh my God. Oh Lord. Lord, I wish I could show you what my wife has done. Back to the article. Said it was my fault. I caused it, but he didn't rush to call 911, and he wasn't trying to resuscitate her. I collapsed with her in my arms. She was heavy and she was cold. He takes her from me, and he immediately softens his tone and says, it's going to be okay. I wanted to believe him. He took her from me, and he went away. Here's your split shot, ladies and gentlemen. On your left-hand side of your screen is George Anthony. On your right, Casey. Who says that she went to stay with her then boyfriend, Tony Lazzaro, but she didn't tell anyone what had happened. She says she wasn't under the impression that Kaylee was dead. During the 31 days, I genuinely believed that Kaylee was still alive, she says. My father kept telling me that she was okay. I had to keep following his instructions. He told me what to do. I tried to act as normal as I could. In the interview, she alleges that she had been sexually abused by her father, George. An elaboration of claims that her lawyer made during the 2011 trial. He has denied her claims and has never been charged. And George did not return People magazine's messages for comment. Also in the interview, Casey, she speculates that George may have staged Kaylee's drowning in order to cover up that he had been abusing his granddaughter, an allegation that even Casey admits she doesn't know for sure. But when asked if she had been truthful to the police, Casey acknowledged that her story changed several times. I lied, she said. My lies always have a kernel of truth in them, but I lied because that's what I was told to do. According to a source in the Anthony family's inner circle, George Anthony is privately denying the allegations. He's outraged and appalled. It wasn't true in 2011, and it's not true now. He denies it all and will continue to deny it all until his final breath. For the record, ladies and gentlemen, this has already been established at the trial. That very first accusation of Casey being abused was already debunked in court. So, George Anthony, yeah. Yeah, great for him. Great for him. I totally agree. George Anthony has been cleared for that charge. Now Casey's saying that George abused Kaylee. As good as this coffee my wife made me is, I would probably still need 50 cents to go to Starbucks to buy another cup. And trust me, this is not a knock on my wife.
Oh, I know it's not.
Next article says a juror reacts to Casey's new interview. Once a liar, always a liar. Now, gee, I wonder what would make this juror say that. One of the jurors at Casey Anthony's murder trial has watched the new interview the nefarious woman gave for a new Peacock Docu-Series, and he isn't convinced by her explanation of what happened to her daughter. Oh, please do tell, Mr. Juror. Her story just changes all. Oh, I agree with you, no doubt, because she lied her tail off in court. She lied her tail off when the investigation started. She lied her tail off when she went to prison. She's likely lying her tail off now in this docu-series. Besides, you're right. I agree with that, Lady Outlaw. Yeah. Her story just changes all the time, says the juror, who has repeatedly told People magazine over the years that he was haunted by his decision to acquit her. This isn't what we heard in court. This wasn't her defense. This is something different. Not completely different, but different enough. On July 5th, 2011, the 12-member jury filed into an Orlando courtroom to render the verdict against Casey Anthony, who was on trial for first-degree murder in the death of her 2-year-old daughter, Kaylee. Why did he vote to acquit? I'm willing to bet pressure from the rest of the jury. That's probably that. Come on in into the audio, sweetheart. I want to hear how you hear your take on that.
It usually happens that way.
So basically, you're thinking one way, and you got 11 others telling you no. This is the evidence says otherwise. This says this. This says this. We're voting guilty. And you're the only lone standout to vote not guilty.
Well, look at the trial with the different one.
Great point. Great point.
You should go with what? The way Michael killed. You know who I'm talking about, right?
Speak up. I think everybody may want to get an earful of this.
With Michael Jordan or
Jordan.
What's her name? They killed. What's her name? You're not even getting it.
I'm trying to figure. And one of my and somebody who's watching this. Somebody who's watching this on YouTube can't hear you.
when he killed his wife.
Who? Oh, you're talking about the O.J. Simpson trial.
There you go.
Ah,
OJ, not Michael. OJ.
good. Now that's a good example. That's a great example. When the verdict was delivered, Casey was acquitted of the most serious charges against her. She was only convicted of lying to the police. 2 weeks later, she walked free from jail. The juror said that made me. Oh, she's talking about how the jury came up with their verdict in the O.J. Simpson trial. I know now. I get where she went with that. The juror said in regard to the Casey trial, that made me sick to my stomach. Watching her smirk as she walked free, and to know that I was partly responsible for that.
She could never be charged for that murder.
That's another great point. The double jeopardy clause. Anyway, People magazine sat down with the juror and watched the interview, which premiered on November 29th, which was a Tuesday, on Peacock's new docu-series Casey Anthony, Where the Truth Lies. Oh, now that I'm looking at the title, I can see how pretty much it's a play on words. At several points, the juror asked to rewind the playback so that he could go over some of her claims. Double jeopardy. Oh, what does that mean? Double jeopardy. Double jeopardy means if you're tried once for a particular crime like murder, and you're acquitted, and some more evidence against you if more evidence comes against you for that same murder, bad news for the prosecution. They can't try you twice. So basically, you would be as free as a blade. No. That's even in the Constitution too. Ooh, that's why it's called double jeopardy. You can't do it. The only good double jeopardy is on the game show. Right. Anyway, in the interview, Anthony drops several bombshells and elaborates on her attorney's claims that she had been sexually abused by her father George and her brother Lee. Hold on. Right. Isn't Casey free? Right. Isn't Casey free? And sad to say, yes, she's free. So if any more evidence comes up against Casey in regard to Kaylee's murder, it won't mean a doggone thing, because Casey cannot be tried a second time for Kaylee's murder.
Not unless it's reviewed and they go a different way about it.
No, she can't be charged for Kaylee's murder. Period. At all. Exactly. So the juror breaks this down. Okay, both George and Lee have denied claims and have never been charged, and they did not return People Magazine's messages for comment. I can see that. How many times do they have to keep saying, I didn't abuse Casey Anthony. I didn't sexually abuse Casey Anthony. I didn't abuse Kaylee Anthony. Casey is lying through her teeth. How many different ways can they say that?
We don't know.
Other than a different language.
Besides you sexually abusing her, we don't know if she's lying or not.
Babe, that's been debunked in the murder trial. As far as I was concerned, that was part of what I like to call the spaghetti defense. Throw something on the wall and see what sticks. Anthony further theorizes that her father staged Kaylee's drowning in the family pool in order to cover up that he may have been abusing his granddaughter. A family source tells People magazine that George is devastated by Casey's new claim. That source said, like I read in the last article, it wasn't true in 2011 and it's not true now. When asked if she believes that Kaylee drowned in the above-ground pool, Casey said no. There was no ladder. There was no way for her to shimmy up. There's no way to explain that unless George put her in the pool to cover up for what he did. Her allegations stunned the juror who always believed, dumbest crap you ever heard? Dumbest crap you ever heard? Stick around. There's more. Her allegations stunned the juror who always believed that the pool was involved in Kaylee's death. Juror says, the entire defense was that Kaylee drowned in the pool. But now she's saying that she didn't drown in the pool. So the entire defense was a lie. Either that or she's lying now. Who can tell for sure? I'll say this. This is just my own commentary. And when the Casey Anthony trolls can get after me all they want to, I could care less at this point. Because I'm looking at this picture of that little 2-year-old, and I think about everything Casey said then. I'm thinking about everything Casey said now. Pop quiz. Guess how I know Casey's lying? Her lips move. No, her lip. Whenever she opened her mouth, lies come out.
Why?
She's about as bad as a certain real estate developer turned politician, but I don't want to call no names or get into politics. In the interview, Anthony makes yet another damning accusation against her father. I hope everybody's seated for this one. Quote, when I was young, he put a pillow over my face and smothered me to knock me out. That happened several times. I'm sure there were times where I was incapacitated as a child, where my body was limp and lifeless. The juror had People magazine replay that quote 3 times. That's something that would have been mentioned in court if it were true, because that would be a defense. But I don't remember that coming up in court, which makes me feel like she came up with that after the fact. I don't believe it. Well, looks like that juror and I are on the same page, and apparently so does Where the Wind Blows, because she said, OMG, get real. And I gotta agree with that statement. Oh my gosh, she's not through. Ooh, she's called her ignorant. Whoo! You're barely tipping the iceberg. You're barely tipping the iceberg here. At another point, Casey Anthony acknowledges that her fictitious nanny, I remember this one, Zenaida Fernandez Gonzalez, didn't exist. I could have told you that just watching this, just following this case on both CNN and HLN. During a police interview, Anthony alleged that the nanny had kidnapped Kaylee. Yeah, and again, another 50 cents. I could buy a Starbucks cup of coffee for my wife and to get a second one free and still enjoy her own coffee. Jurors said we knew she was a figment of Casey's imagination, but keep in mind, we never heard it from her own mouth that Zanny the nanny was made up. She created an entire person to cover her tracks. Ridiculous. I don't know what I expected. I think the jury kept.
Like she's patronizing or not being truthful.
She's either what or not being truthful.
Patronizing.
I'm thinking the latter. She's not being truthful. She hasn't been.
Making it seem more than it really is.
There you go. There you go. The juror goes on to say, I don't know what I expected. I think I wanted answers that I'm never going to get. If I heard her talk during court, I would have convicted her. I really think so. Asked whether there was anything in the interview that changed his mind about Anthony. The juror thought for a moment and said, no, this is classic Casey Anthony. She's still lying after all these years. And once a liar, always a liar.
Just like once an alcohol, always an alcohol.
There you go. Basically it's like good or bad. Once you're a certain way, once you're a certain way, good or bad, you're that way for life. And we like the juror said about Casey Anthony. Once a liar, anyway, one last time, Casey Anthony's father is outraged and appalled at allegations of molestation. He denies it all. I'm reading this particular article. It's supposed to be a different article, but it's the same doggone accusation.
I think he might have not.
No. You know why? Because that accusation came straight from Casey Anthony. I mean, here's the article. Casey Anthony's father is reeling from his daughter's new interview and is considering taking legal action against her. 36-year-old Casey is telling her version of events on Casey Anthony, Where the Truth Lies, a 3-part limited series which is now streaming on Peacock. In the Docu-Series, she sits down for her first on-camera interview ever. During the extensive interview, oh wow, hold on, let me stop there because Where the Wind Blows makes a great point. Liars lie and believe their own lies, even when telling a new lie. You can't make it make any more sense than that. During her extensive interview, Anthony drops several bombshells and elaborates on allegations that she had been sexually abused by her father, George. He vehemently denied her claims in court and has never been charged. He didn't return People Magazine's messages for comment. She also speculates that George may have staged Kaylee's drowning in order to cover up that he had been abusing his granddaughter. George Anthony, now age 71, is aware of his daughter's new allegation against him. According to a source in the Anthony family's inner circle, he's devastated at the claims. He's outraged and appalled, the insider tells People Magazine. It wasn't true in 2011. It's not true now. He denies it all and will continue to deny it all until his final breath. George is keeping a pretty strong exterior, but this tears him up. He still loves his daughter, and he loved his granddaughter. So this is beyond difficult for him. I would say so. She's accusing him, still accusing him of molestation claims that's been debunked in court, and she's still running. Right, 71, and you're still saying that about your father. How? I mean, come on, Casey. And I mean, if you're gonna come up with a lie, come up with some. Never mind. I was gonna say come up with something reasonable, but we're dealing with you, the most hated woman in America. That's one. Two, you lie for the sake of lying. That's to keep your butt covered. But I'm just saying. In the docu-series, Casey gives her own version of what happened on June 16th of 2008 when Kaylee was last seen. And the whole, I wasn't feeling great, wanted to lay down. Had her lay in the bed, yeah. You're right. You're right. He does need to quit worrying about the love for Casey, because apparently she doesn't have any love for him, or else she wouldn't keep this going. She wouldn't keep these allegations going and going and going like it's the Energizer battery. Instead of reading off Casey's so-called idea of what happened to Kaylee, I'm looking at this picture of Kaylee again, and every time I see her, I see I can actually hear a variation of that song, "You Are My Sunshine, My Only Sunshine." I cannot hear that song the same way again without looking at this little girl. All I can we got a CSI who breaks down the contradictions of the interview. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, if you're following this case, you know that of course Casey's saying one thing, evidence says another. A jury found her not guilty, but we have a CSI who breaks down Casey's lies in this interview. Alina Burrows knows the Casey Anthony case well. While working as a crime scene investigator in Orange County, Florida, Burrows was the one who took the phone call that Anthony's white Pontiac Sunfire, quote, smelled like a dead body and needed to be searched. Let me if I remember that whole entire quote tonight, that quote verbatim, this was Casey Anthony's mother, Cindy, when she made that call. Quote, "I found my daughter's car today and it smells like there's been a dead body in the damn car." End quote. I will never forget those words as long as I live. Burrows performed several search warrants at the Anthony family home, and when Kaylee Anthony's body was found on December 2008, Burrows spent 11 days at the scene, meticulously gathering the little girl's remains and additional evidence. Oh, you're not kidding, Mom! Oh my God. PO'd. I believe if I could use stronger language, I probably would. Anyway. She spent 11 days meticulously gathering the little girl's remains and additional evidence. Burrows says, "My job was to collect the evidence. That's what I loved about being a CSI. Evidence does not have an agenda. Everyone else has an agenda. The evidence doesn't care about your agenda. The evidence just is." Yes. Over the next 3 years, Burrows spent countless hours investigating the Anthony case, a case she says will always stick with her. "I am here to serve the victim, which is Kaylee. That was my job, and that's how I feel even to this day." When Burrows watched Anthony's new interview, she says that she compared the 36-year-old's story with the settled evidence in the case, and she noticed a lot of discrepancies. All right, everybody, and this includes the Casey Anthony trolls too. Get out your notebooks, get out pen, get out pencil, and get ready to take some notes, because this is based on the evidence. All right, here we go. In Anthony's interview, she alleged that her father, George Anthony, had taken Kaylee from her bed while she slept. She alleged that she later saw Anthony holding the toddler's limp body. Casey said he was standing there. She was soaking wet. He handed it to me, said it was my fault, that I caused it, but he didn't rush to call 911, and he wasn't trying to resuscitate her. I collapsed with her in my arms. She was heavy and she was cold. She then alleged that George took Kaylee's body away and that she fled to a white Pontiac Sunfire and stayed at her boyfriend's house. But when the Pontiac was found abandoned weeks later, several people said that there had been a dead body in the vehicle, a detail that doesn't appear to reconcile with Casey's story that her father took care of the disposing body. Based on the totality of the evidence, there was a deceased individual in the trunk of Casey's car, says Burroughs. There was a smell of decomposition, and there were also hairs from Kaylee that had the banding that seemed to indicate that she was dead. So I'm gonna put the evidence up against the Bethea's Byte Reloaded lie detector test, based on the Maury Povich show version of a lie detector. So between what Casey said and the evidence said, the lie detector determined Casey's lying. Next, did Casey really believe Kaylee was alive during the 31 days she was missing? In the interview, Casey said after her encounter with George, she believed that her daughter was not dead. During the 31 days, I genuinely believed Kaylee was still alive. She says, my father kept telling me she was okay. I had to keep following his instructions. He told me what to do. I tried to act as normal as I could. But Burroughs questions that assertion. If Casey believed that Kaylee was alive, why did she borrow a shovel from the neighbors? I went to the neighbor's house personally and collected the shovel she borrowed. What was the explanation about that? The cadaver dogs had hid on a spot in the family's backyard, but the area was too full of roots to bury anything. So no one buried the body in the backyard. But why did she borrow the shovel? If you believe your child is alive, what do you need a shovel for? Between the evidence and Casey's explanation, Bethea's Byte Reloaded's lie detector determined Casey's lying again. Next, where was the duct tape? During the trial, the prosecution asserted the duct tape was oh my gosh. During the trial, the prosecution asserted the duct tape was wrapped around Kaylee's head. The defense said it was around the trash that Kaylee was placed in. The duct tape was not deeply discussed during the interview, but Burroughs says it's an example of how the stories just doesn't add up. The ME says that a mandible will not be attached to the skull in a decomposing body unless something is there holding it. The defense argued that there was no DNA on the duct tape, but there was no DNA anywhere. It had been outside in the heat, moisture, sun, and elements for 6 months. It was even underwater at some point. So, between the evidence and the defense, Bethea's Byte's lie detector determines Casey's defense is lying. Yes, 6 months. 6 months under all that heat, moisture, sun, and the elements. But Casey believed deep down after 31 days her daughter was alive. Lastly, where was the emotion? Burroughs, who now hosts the show Crime Scene Confidential on Discovery ID, says she tried to keep emotion out of her assessment of Anthony's interview, but that she noticed that Anthony's tears tended to be for herself and not her daughter. Well, sir, why am I not shocked there? The interview was all very centric to her, she says. When emotion was shown, it was about how she was feeling, how the loss related to her. What I wanted to hear were the questions that would be going through my mind if I mysteriously lost a daughter. I'd be thinking, I hope my child was not scared or alone or in pain. I hope she wasn't struggling. Casey talked a lot about how she felt. But why didn't she talk about how Kaylee felt? That's a big red flag to me. Ladies and gentlemen, you lose a child, you don't report that child missing for 31 days. You go through this huge trial with your life on the line. Your defense attorney runs a nice little dog and pony show defense to get you acquitted. Now you're in front of a camera for the first time, and when you finally show emotion, it's not about your daughter. It's not about your daughter, how she was feeling, whether she was scared, alone, hurt, or whatever. No, it's about you. No. Ladies and gentlemen, Bethea's Byte Reloaded, lie detective determined Casey had zero emotion when it came to Kaylee. Period. Full stop. After those last few articles, all about Casey, all about her docu-series, I'm almost sorry I wasted time on that. But I gotta admit this. I followed that case from the beginning. I followed that case from the beginning. Oh wow. Thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. My lie detector is about as good as some of these other ones, and they are accurate as all get out. Anyway, as I was saying, I followed this case from the very beginning, and trust you me when I say that when I say Casey Anthony did nothing but lie, and she didn't even have to get on the witness stand to do it, she did nothing but lie. Nothing. You can watch. I'm not suggesting you do it, but you can watch the documentary for yourself and make your own choice. Be the judge. But as far as I'm concerned, Casey Anthony lied then, she lied now, and she will continue to lie until her final breath. And then, like my wife said, we'll let judgment happen for her on that issue. And that's all I got to say about Casey Anthony. Next up, we got a bunch of crazy stories this week. We have a four-year-old Pennsylvania girl who was allegedly shot to death while she was grocery shopping with her mother. Yes, look at this. Look at this. 4 years old. Cute, wasn't she? Authorities are searching for the perpetrators responsible for the fatal shooting of a little girl at a Pennsylvania grocery store. Police in Pittsburgh confirmed that the victim was identified by loved ones as 4-year-old Kari Thompson. According to WATE-TV, died as a result of the gunfire. Kari's mom was also injured in the shooting and remains hospitalized in critical condition. The outlet, police do not know whether the girl or the mother were the targets of the shooting. Thursday evening last week, police responded to a call of shots fired at the Brooklyn Food Market, where they discovered the mother and daughter suffering from gunshot wounds. The pair were rushed to the hospital, where Kari was pronounced dead. In 4 years, she gave me more joy than most people can get in 40 years, her grandfather Kirk Thompson told WTAE during a vigil last Sunday. Our whole family is devastated. Heather Thompson, Kari's aunt, said that this was senseless. Why would you gun down a 4-year-old? Yes, why would you gun down a 4-year-old? Police said the shooters fled in unknown directions and no arrests have been made. Anybody that saw or heard something, anybody that has information that they're hearing, we're asking and pleading with anybody to come forward and share that with us. This is coming from Police Zone 5 Commander Stephen Vinansky, according to KDKA TV. A motive remains under investigation. In the meantime, a GoFundMe campaign has been launched for Kari to help offset funeral costs. And you're right. It's totally sad. I mean, I read the article before putting it out there, and it tore my heart in two. It tore my heart in two. And I feel so horrible for the family. And I want to know how many perpetrators are out there. I want to know how many of them are out there so they can get caught, so they can get the justice due to them, and let them get caught, let them be put on trial, but when it's all said and done, let justice be served. That's all I ask. That's all I ask. Next up. Next up, an Ohio mother and daughter are killed by a man who then turns the gun on himself. Oh, you are so right where the wind blows. You are so right. Victims need justice. And that's why the true crime, that's why I did that editorial a couple of weeks ago. That's what the true crime community is all about. We're supposed to be helping to find the missing, be a voice for the victims, and helping those victims get justice. Like this one rap song once said, and this is a line I'll stick by till the day I draw my last breath. Save the drama for your mama. This ain't the time for it. A mother and her daughter were fatally shot outside their Ohio home last Wednesday before the gunman took his own life during a police chase. Police identified the women as 55-year-old Deborah Hudak and her 25-year-old daughter, Catherine Hudak. Excuse me. The suspect, 38-year-old Jonathan Crago, had a relationship with at least one of the victims, and that's according to WKBN 27. Police called the events leading up to, Police called the events leading up to the shooting a domestic dispute. Brittany Hudak, who was Deborah's daughter and Catherine's sister, said her sister was being harassed by an ex-boyfriend before her death, though it was unclear if Cargo was the person she was referring to. The threats that I saw come in, if you don't do this, you'll see what happens. If you don't do this, you'll see the results. Nothing you could say is a direct threat as to, I'm going to take your life. However, anybody can read that and interpret something bad might happen. That's what Brittany said. According to WFMJ 21, Brittany said that after Catherine broke up with the ex started showing up at places he knew she would be. This is a nice close-up shot of Catherine. She knew to call police. She knew to report it. The problem comes when those individuals set the guidelines for how this crime can be punished. How do we punish menacing? How do we punish stalking? How do we punish domestic violence? You put somebody on probation, they're out. They can still contact this person. Yes. Yes, she was beautiful. In fact, if you looked at the side-by-side picture of her and her mother, you can see the line she get it from her mama applies. Here, let me hit this again. There's mom and daughter. Get it from her mama, right? Anyway, according to the WFMJ 21, Lowellville police had filed 2 first-degree felony counts of aggravated murder. Two felony counts of aggravated murder against Crago when they received a 911 call about shots fired. After obtaining a description of Crago's vehicle, police found Crago in Parma, Ohio, driving the vehicle. He proceeded to lead officers on a chase. Per 33 WYTV, police said Crago called Cleveland police and told them of his intention to commit suicide by cop, which prompted a shelter-in-place order to be placed on residents in the area. The outlet further reported that Crago fatally shot himself before he was apprehended. So he lived? No. If he had he lived, we would be talking about something totally different. We'll be talking about charges and jail time. On last Sunday, the Hudak women were honored during a candlelight vigil attended by about 200 people. You know the saying, give you the shirt off their back? They would give you the shirt and then look for a pair of pants, Brittany said at the vigil. Debbie loved working with people with developmental disabilities. She did that through most of her adult life. Roy Pratt, who was Deborah's brother and Catherine's uncle. WKBN 27 reports that during the vigil, Pratt said the victims worked with animals who needed a home, saying the women who had a passion for taking in strays, the old dogs, the sick dogs, the injured cats, and that they would get them all taken care of with the vets. Here's another shot of Deborah. And I'll go back to this I'll go back to your last comment in just a second. A GoFundMe page has been set up in support of the victims' family members. 2 incredibly beautiful humans were taken from the world by a senseless act of violence way too soon. The page was created by family friend Chelsea Marie. Debbie was kind, she was patient, and she always wanted what was best for us. It adds, Katie was so vibrant, so full of life. Neither of them deserve what happened to them. They should be sitting at home right now with each other, but instead they're gone. If you're this is for everybody out there, male or female, doesn't matter. If you are experiencing domestic violence, you are urged to call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7223. Excuse me, 7233. 1-800-799-7233, or go to thehotline.org. All calls are toll-free and confidential, and the hotline is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in more than 170 languages. Now, before I get to my commentary, you have mentioned about the charges, the possible counts of two counts of murder. Hang on one brief moment. Oh, this is Brittany was talking about how do you punish all that. The threats came in. According to WFMJ 21, Louisville police have filed 2 first-degree felony counts of aggravated murder against Crago when they received a 911 call about shots fired. Once they found him, he led them on a chase, and then they even called Cleveland police and told them of his intention to commit suicide by cop. That prompted shelter. That prompted shelter in place order, and then it was reported that Crago fatally shot himself before he was apprehended. In other words, he'd rather take his own life than to face justice. And yes, he did get both mother and daughter. So he won't get any justice here, but he will face justice eventually. I'm just saying. Next up, our next story is going to take us across the pond. Oh yeah, you're right. You're right about that one. Of course, the coward. Yeah, that is taking the coward's way out. Our next story is going to take us across the pond. This one irks me a little bit. Keep in mind, this young lady is on trial in a British courtroom, number one. Number two, I don't know how British law works. I know what I know is what I'm thinking at the moment. Okay. Lucy Letby, a British nurse, is currently on trial for allegedly murdering 7 neonatal babies and allegedly attempting to kill 10 others throughout 2015 and 2016. Now, 32 years of age, Letby has denied all 22 charges against her. The latest bombshell heard in the jury trial, which has taken place at the Manchester Crown Court, is that Letby allegedly tried to kill a premature infant nicknamed Child G to protect her identity, right after celebrating the baby's 100-day birthday. That's what I said before I went on to the next paragraph. That's exactly what I was thinking before I went to the next paragraph. Letby even reportedly created a celebratory banner for the child's birthday before one of the alleged murder attempts. Prosecutors say Letby tried to kill baby G on 3 separate occasions at the Countess of Chester Hospital in Manchester in September 2015. According to BBC, Child G was born prematurely by about 16 weeks and weighed in at a little over 1 pound. The infant was in the hospital's neonatal unit when she became violently sick on September 7, 2015. and by the father's account, read aloud in court, the baby was found projectile vomiting and bleeding from her trachea. She was resuscitated in the ICU. Jury heard that Letby may have purposely overfed the baby both milk and air, leading to irreversible brain damage. Yeah, just a little over a pound. Just a little over 1 pound. Oh, but let me make this to you. The baby's being born at weighing in a little over a pound. That's because she was born about 16 weeks premature. That's understandable. That's understandable. But you're a nurse. 2, how do you try to take a child's life and the child is already on the brink. It's touch and go, 50-50. Meaning the child could live or the child could die at any given moment. And you, being a nurse, decided you want to help the cause along the way. Yeah, 1 pound. Apparently, if all the evidence is coming this way is correct, Lucy Letby could care less. But I'll keep going. The infant was only about as big as a human hand, and was the youngest and smallest baby affiliated with Letby's case, said one prosecutor. Though Child G survived, thank God, her parents told the court that she changed after that incident. She is now reportedly has quadriplegia, cerebral palsy. After the alleged murder attempt. Oh, no. No, where the wind blows, if I was kidding, I wouldn't be reporting this. Remember what my initial slogan is. News, opinions, debates, your voice, and justice served. I'm not kidding I don't kid with reports like this. After the alleged murder attempt, jurors heard Letby text colleagues pretending not to know what had caused the baby's injuries, feigning concern for her well-being. She had allegedly tried twice more to kill the baby on September 21st, 2015. And right at that point, as I read it, I'm thinking, you gotta be kidding me. You have gotta be kidding me. Though Letby has repeatedly claimed that she's innocent, prosecutors have presented several handwritten notes in court that they say incriminate her. She hated that baby? She hated that baby? Understatement. Listen to this evidence that she wrote. This is Letby's words. This is not Bethea's Byte Reloaded. This is not Ernest Bethea's words. This is hers. In one of the notes, Letby allegedly wrote, I killed them on purpose because I'm not good enough to care for them. That's on one note. In another, she allegedly wrote, not good enough. I will never have children or marry. I will never know what it's like to have a family. She also allegedly scribbled in one of the notes, I am a horrible person. And then wrote in capital letters, I am evil. I did this. End quote. Letby's attorneys could not be immediately reached for comment, and the trial continues. And yeah, of course, like I always do in the on the Bethea's Byte Reloaded YouTube page, I have more. I have the link. I have the links to videos regarding these and all the stories I present here. But you may want to pay attention to that testimony coming from the parents, because just to get wind of the emotion of what they're going through and what Letby may be going through. And yes, their court system is different in the UK, but if it were me, you know my style. Letby can be buried under the prison. And I got a request to share the parents' testimony. Call me a genie, because your wish is granted. What you're about to see here is courtesy of Sky News in the UK. This is Lucy Letby, and this is what happened with one of the babies. Fortunately for the mother, she interrupted Lucy Letby in another attempt to kill another premature baby. Listen.
Shortly after the death of a baby she's accused of murdering, Lucy Letby messaged a friend to say it was fate that babies got unwell sometimes. The prosecution say it was bad luck or fate for that baby, that Lucy Letby was on duty that night. On the second day of her trial, the court continued to hear details of the short lives of the 17 babies she's accused of murdering or attempting to murder. The jury was told about a baby identified as Child E. His mother went to visit him and his twin in the neonatal unit at the Countess of Chester Hospital. Nicholas Johnson, KC, told the jury that she interrupted Lucy Letby, who was attacking Child E, although she didn't realise it at the time. The baby was distressed and bleeding. Lucy Letby said, "Trust me, I'm a nurse." That's what she told her, Mr. Johnson said. Child E died, and the court heard Lucy Letby took an unusual interest in his family, researching them on social media in the weeks after his death, even on Christmas Day. The day after she allegedly murdered Child E, the prosecution say she attempted to murder his twin brother. The jury was also told about a baby identified as Child C, born premature but in good condition. When the nurse looking after him left his room, she heard an alarm and returned to find Lucy Letby standing by his incubator.
Lucy Letby should have been looking after a different baby at the time and had been told off for ignoring an order to do so.
The prosecution say she texted an off-duty colleague to say she wanted to be in the room with Child C because it would be cathartic, good for her well-being, to see a living baby in a space previously occupied by a dead baby. That was Child A, who she's also accused of murdering.
The prosecution say Lucy Letby killed Child C by injecting air into his stomach. There was a pattern. A method of attacking babies was developing.
Mr. Johnson told the jury, if you're trying to murder a baby in a neonatal unit, it's a fairly effective way of doing it. It doesn't really leave a trace. The prosecution say Lucy Letby also attempted three times.
Oh, God.